I have a special treat for all of you today. I took a trip to Aurora, Oregon to visit the wonderful Heirlooms, Dollhouse, Miniatures, and More store. I got to sit down with Wendy, the owner of the store. We got to chat a bit, and we got to sit in on a fun doll making class. So stay tuned and join me today. So we are sitting here in Wendy's beautiful shop. And first, Wendy, thank you for having us today.
Well, thank you for being here.
And first, how did you get started in Dollhouse Miniatures?
My grandmother.
Tell us about it.
Well, she started me when I was little tiny. She had a huge antique doll collection and vintage, and of course the doll houses were right there too. And we used to make miniatures and play miniatures, and just having a shop was always a dream. And I just grew up with it.
That's awesome. So are you a creator or a collector?
Collector now.
Okay.
Just don't create like I used to.
I think we all get there.
Yeah.
So how long have you been doing Dollhouse? How old were you when this bug bit?
Before I can remember. Yeah.
That's
So
a
very,
lifetime.
very young.
Okay, we'll go with that.
Yeah, I took a bit of time off seriously to raise my daughter. But we still did our dollhouse, so she's always been into it too.
So's my daughter. She grew up with them. My kids all grew up with them.
Yeah.
So do you personally have a favorite item or a favorite project in your collection? Or is it just whatever the new one is?
Yeah, I don't think I could put my finger on a favorite. I think they all have, the vintage ones and antique, they all have such wonderful
When
stories.
did you open the store?
The middle of October, and then the grand opening was right before Thanksgiving.
It's wonderful. I love it here. And you're in Aurora, which is a small, very historic community south of Portland. Tell me about why you moved here.
Aurora is fantastic. I wanted a small, close-knit community, which I have here. The people are fantastic. It's all quaint little antique shops and 2 little cafes. It's wonderful. Actually, there is, I think it's 24 antique shops in Aurora, and heirlooms.
Lots for people to see. If they come to Portland, they definitely need to drive south and come visit you.
Absolutely.
And the Aurora community. So you have, your Facebook page does have directions for how to
Yes,
get here,
it
and
does. Yeah.
the link for that will be in my blog post. And you have some special pieces here. Shall we go we'll take some look at those via a slideshow coming up here next, and we can see what some of the special pieces are you have here in the shop.
Great, thank you. Right, so right now while we're sitting here, there's a class going on in the next room. Tell us about who's doing that class and what they're learning. That's Dana. She travels worldwide giving classes on miniature dolls. They are unbelievable. You go to one of her classes and you will go home with a doll that, for your dollhouse, that is just, you have no idea. The beading, she supplies everything. The antique beads, the silk, you do the wigging. It is
wonderful.
remarkable. If you go to her website too, you'll see so many that have been done
Well, we're going to take a peek at that class in just a minute. You also told me you're always looking for people to come in and teach classes in the shop. You've
Absolutely.
got a place.
Yep.
You just need some people.
Yep. I'm a little more organized now, and I have people asking me all the time when I'm going to start having classes. So yes, I need instructors.
You need to line up those instructors. So hey guys, if you want to teach a class, get a hold of Wendy. And by the way, Dana's website will be in the blog post. You're looking for kids class teachers too, right?
Yes,
because you want to do some
absolutely.
kids classes. We need to get those kids into miniatures.
Oh, absolutely. And I know the Girl Scouts or Brownies can earn a patch now in miniatures.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
Well, we are going to close the interview part. My son, I want to thank my son for being our videographer and our photographer today.
Yes, thank you so much.
He's going to do a wonderful job, I know. So from here, we are going to visit that class, and then there'll be a slideshow of the shop. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for coming.
Well, thank you for having us.
After I pleated it,
Gathered up tight.
and then I sewed it
Nope,
onto
that's absolutely
her.
perfect.
You gathered this part
I gathered the top.
with a needle.
Yes, because then you get the gathers and you can actually spread them out a little bit more so it's even. Otherwise you're guessing and it's hard. And not so much glue.
Dana, who is doing the doll class today, and she's going to give us a rigging 101. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Dana, and my business is miniature art. And today I would like to show you the 3 different ways you can do a wigging. The way that you make curls, you take your viscose and you gently separate it. Now you never cut viscose, and the reason is if you have long hair and you make a blunt cut, when you wrap it, you're going to have all those ends sticking out. If you have hair that's a little bit frizzy at the end, it wraps a lot easier and you can get a tighter curl. So the way we're going to make curls, you separate, and for today's video this is actually more than you need, but we're going to use this amount. There's 3 sizes of curls. There is a spit curl, the kind that is generally by your forehead. There is a tendril that's soft and wavy, and then there's heavy curls like Nellie Olson or Victorian curls, ringlets in Little House of the Prairie. The size of the curl depends on how much fiber you put on your knitting needle. So what you're going to do is you're going to separate your hair, and again this is a rather large piece but to show for the video. You are then going to take your plant mister, and these are available at Walmart. They're 99 cents, and I have 3 of them depending on what kind of hair I'm doing. The first one is just distilled water. The reason I use distilled water is because it does not have the minerals in it, and for some reason it seems to hold the curl better. The number 2 plant mister I have is the distilled water with 1 teaspoon of green downy. Not kidding, don't know why, green downy works the best. So shake it up, and that's your conditioner. If you're doing pretty Marcel waves, that's the plant mister you use. Number 3 is the distilled water and a drop of Stiffen. This is Eileen's Stiffen. Stiffy does not work as well, but Stiffen. So if you shake that up and spray it on your hair, you make the very hard Victorian ringlets. Alright, so let's actually make a curl. Once you separated the fiber and you have the length you want, you take your mister and you spray on both sides, and then you run the hair through your fingers. Now this takes away all the frizzies. Then you take your knitting needle. I'm going to take the fatter one so the viewers can see how to do this. And for anybody that's done floral, it's basically like wrapping the tape. Now, if you can see knitting needle through your curl, that'll be a tendril. If you want a sausage curl, you squish it tight and you don't see any knitting needle. So you wrap the curl around the rod, and you keep going until there's no hair left. And I always go back over for any little frizzies. Now, I take a flat iron or a hair straightener and I clamp it on until it's dry. Rotate the rod and clamp it on. Now, obviously this is not going to set because my fingers are not a curling iron, but you get the general idea by, and this would come off easier if it was dry, but basically you get the nice curl. Now, one of the tips with the curl is if you take the hair out and it's slightly damp, you can actually squish the curl a little bit flatter, so when it lays against the doll's chest, you have a nice laying curl instead of the stiff, which you don't want. Okay, that's how we make curls. Again, there's 3 sizes. The spit curls, which would go by your forehead, would be used with a corsage pin. Size probably 1 or 2 would be the tendrils, and this is a thicker one, and it is a, hang on, let me get my readers. This one is a 3. So this would be good for sausage curls.